everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 234 and today's topic is thunderstorms. A thunderstorm is a storm with thunder and lightning, and it's usually accompanied by heavy rainfall. Could be quite scary. I remember as a little girl being afraid of thunderstorms because there would be lightning, just flashes of light in the dark sky, especially at night, and then these cracks of thunder, loud noises that rumble and grumble. So were you afraid of these sounds or thunderstorms when you were little? And a thunderstorm is also known as an electrical storm, a lightning storm, and also a thunder shower, especially if it's accompanied by rain. Now, a while back, I think it was probably not too long ago, but we talked about what we know or what we call buzzwords, okay? And we talked about how a most recent buzzword, I think was as of May or June, it was supercell. Now there's something called a supercell thunderstorm, and it's the strongest and the most associated with severe weather phenomena. So it's a very strong thunderstorm, supercell that is. There's also dry thunderstorms with no precipitation, and these can cause outbreaks of forest fires. So these can be deadly as well. Okay, let's talk about thunderstorms then. Let's begin with actual talk. Were you scared of thunderstorms when you were little?
I'll be honest with you, when I was really young, I was a bit scared. However, sort of by the time I was a teenager, I used to really like watching the lightning and the crack of thunder.
Right, it can be kind of exciting too, right?
Absolutely, I used to love it. And I remember going on holiday one time to South Africa.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe how loud
the crack
was, the of the thunder. It really was amazing.
Right. Yeah, my brother used to be really scared of thunderstorms, and then my dad taught him this kind of trick to calm him down a little bit, trying to estimate how far the lightning bolt is from your location. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I think we all did that when we were younger. It's hard to remember now, I guess, but I think my dad used to tell me we had to count 1001, 1002 for each mile it was away from you.
Yeah, I remember my dad would say, look for the lightning bolt, and when you see the flash, start counting, right? And then for every second you count, it's roughly 1,000 feet. I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're sort of estimating here, but yeah, I always thought it was roughly a mile away for each count.
Okay, right.
But it was fun when I was younger, that's for sure.
It kind of helped you focus on something else other than your fear.
Absolutely.
So it became an exciting thing.
Yeah, I mean, I always used to like the sort of science behind it, how like the humid hot air used to go up and then sort of go so high that it condensed, and then sort of water droplets would form and then come down. It was kind of interesting for me when I was younger.
This electricity, the science behind it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now I see that Eugene, Mary, and I have something in common. I guess as little girls and boys, we all think that these scary things are interesting and exciting at times. But for me, it wasn't as exciting, but I was afraid of thunderstorms actually. But it was kind of cool, I think. Anyhow, these two were talking about thunderstorms. Let's find out in detail what they mentioned in their conversation. Mary began by saying, were you scared of thunderstorms when you were little? Were you afraid of? Were you scared of? Meaning, did you fear thunderstorms when you were little? Meaning when you were a little boy or a little girl, or when you were quite young. Now, Eugene says, I'll be honest with you. I'll be frank with you. I'll tell you the truth. When I was really young, I was a bit scared. So he is admitting that he was or he used to be scared of thunderstorms. However, by the time I was a teenager, I used to really like watching the lightning and the crack of thunder. So lightning and crack of thunder. Lightning is basically a flash of light in the sky. Usually before a thunder hits, we see a flash of light in the sky. It's usually vertical, sometimes even not exactly horizontal, but they strike. There's a flash of light. It's like a white line that goes across the sky. That is what we call lightning. Okay, so he's saying when he became a teenager, he really enjoyed watching. Okay, he liked to watch lightning, and also he liked the crack of thunder. Crack of thunder? A crack is what? It can be maybe an opening, okay, in something. It's also a sound, crack. A sound something makes when it breaks. So an egg could crack, which means to break, or an egg could make a cracking sound when it hatches. Okay, so here, crack of thunder is basically the sound that you will hear, the cracking sound or the rumbling sound you will hear when there is thunder and lightning, usually thunder. So first of all, with lightning, we see a flash of light, and then when the thunder hits, you will hear crack or cracks of thunder. Moving on. Mary says, right, it can be kind of exciting too, right? Absolutely. I used to love it, he says. And I remember going on holiday one time. Where? To South Africa. And I couldn't believe how loud the crack was. Okay, so he's once again talking about the crack of thunder. And he says the kwagong. That's what noises, the kwagong. Okay, he did that. The kwagong of the thunder really was amazing. So he's talking about what? His visit or his trip to South Africa and how he experienced a thunderstorm or thunder. He's saying that the loud crack, it was amazing. Okay, the sound of the thunder was amazing. Mary says, yeah, my brother used to be really scared of, once again, her brother used to be scared of thunderstorms. And then my dad taught him this kind of trick. To calm him down a little bit. Since her brother was afraid of, he was scared of thunderstorms, whenever there was a thunderstorm, I guess what their father did was, his father said, hey, I'll show you a trick. I'll teach you something so you won't be afraid of thunderstorms. So he taught them a trick to calm him down a little bit, to relax him whenever there was a thunderstorm so that he wouldn't be too scared. So what did he do? He taught them to count. She says counting, trying to estimate how far the lightning bolt is from your location. Okay, we've got some vocab words here that you might not really be aware of. Trying to estimate. Estimate means what? To calculate roughly. Maybe to guess even. So he said, counting, trying to estimate how far the lightning bolt is from your location, from where you are. Now, what is a lightning bolt, though? It's also called a thunderbolt. Very similar to lightning. It's that vertical line that we see. It's visible, that visible line that we see when lightning strikes. That's called a lightning bolt, okay? A ray of light. And then by counting and then trying to estimate how far the lightning bolt is from your location, what you would have to do is count the lightning. Okay, count the cracks of thunder, I guess. And then she says, do you know about that? That's what my father taught us. Do you know about that? And Eugene said what? It's hard to remember now, I guess, but I think my dad used to tell me. So his father told him something very similar as well. We had to count 1001, 1002. Why? For each mile it was away from you. So this was just a way of, I guess, parents trying to calm their children down so that they wouldn't be too scared. So what Eugene's father did and what Mary's father did was, they taught their children, hey, try to count the sounds, the cracks of thunder, or try to count the lightning bolts. And then by calculating that, you can come up with an estimate of how far that lightning bolt is. Okay. She says, yeah, I remember my dad would say, look for the lightning bolt. Look for that bolt that light, that visible light, and when you see the flash, start counting. Okay, so when you see the flash, start counting, begin to count. What is a flash? Okay, we're talking about a very brief, sudden shine of something, a spark of light, for example. So, lightning bolts will flash for less than a second, right? At once. So that's what he said. You know, look for the lightning bolt, look where it strikes, and then when you see the flash, when it goes flash, that's when you start counting. And then for every second, you count. It's roughly 1,000 feet. But she's not quite sure, so she says, I don't know. This is what she thinks her father told her, but she doesn't remember clearly, okay, how to calculate or how to estimate the distance of the lightning bolt from where you are, from your location. Anyhow, moving on, Eugene says, I think we're sort of estimating, once again, guessing here. But I always thought it was roughly a mile away for each count, meaning each time he counted, it meant 1 mile. Okay? Mary says, right, it kind of like helps you focus on something else. So it helps you focus on something else other than your fear. That's right. So it became an exciting thing. So here she's wrapping it up by saying, that's true. Even if we don't remember exactly how it's done, the important thing is that by counting and by trying to estimate the distance, what it did for children, like her and her brother, was it helped them to focus on something else. Think about something else and try not to think about the fear of the thunderstorm. Okay? Moving on. Eugene says, yeah, I always used to like the science behind it. The science behind something. We're just saying the reasons why things happen, okay? The reasons behind things, basically, meaning science behind things. How the humid hot air, the very wet hot air, used to go up into the air and then go so high that it condensed. And then water droplets would form and then come down. Okay, this is a long sentence, but let's take a look at it. He basically is talking about thunderstorms, why they happen. He's talking about the science behind it. Humid air, humid hot air, it goes up, okay? It goes up and then it goes so high that it condenses. It's condensed. Condense means to compress, concentrate, to make thicker, for example. And then what happens? Water droplets fall from the sky. What is a droplet? Droplet. Droplet. A droplet is a small amount of liquid, like a tiny drop of water. A little drop of water is called a droplet. Okay, so these water droplets would form, they would be made and then come down, meaning they would come down as rain. Rain would fall. It was kind of interesting for me when I was younger. So he's talking about how understanding how things worked, the science behind it was very interesting when he was a lot younger. Okay, moving on. Here we go with Mary finishing off the conversation. She says, the electricity and the science behind it, it's interesting. So she agrees that everything, the science behind everything that happens around us, it's quite interesting, okay? The electricity and also the science behind things. It's quite interestingly amazing, I would say. Okay, let's take a listen to the conversation one more time.
Were you scared of thunderstorms when you were little?
I'll be honest with you, when I was really young, I was a bit scared. However, sort of by the time I was a teenager, I used to really like watching the lightning and the crack of thunder.
Right, it can be kind of exciting too, right?
Absolutely, I used to love it. And I remember going on holiday one time to South Africa.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe how loud
the crack
was. You know, of the thunder really was amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother used to be really scared of thunderstorms, and then my dad taught him this kind of trick to calm him down a little bit, trying to estimate how far the lightning bolt is from your location. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I think we all did that when we were younger.
Right.
It's hard to remember now, I guess, but I think my dad used to tell me we had to count 1001, 1002
Right.
for each mile it was away from you.
Yeah, I remember my dad would say, look for the lightning bolt, and when you see the flash, start counting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and
yeah.
then for every second you count, it's roughly 1,000 feet. I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're sort of estimating here, but
Right.
yeah, I always thought it was roughly a mile away for each count.
Okay, right.
But it was fun when I was younger, that's for sure.
It kind of helped you focus on something else other than your fear.
Absolutely.
So it became an exciting thing.
Yeah, I mean, I always used to like the sort of science behind it, how like the humid hot air used to go up and then sort of go so high that it condensed, and then sort of water droplets would form and then come
Right.
down. It was kind of interesting for me when I was
Create this
younger.
electricity, the science behind it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for actual expressions. I've chosen quite a number of words from our actual talk conversation, and then we'll move on to our patterns. But first of all, since we're talking about thunderstorms, here we go. Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm. It can also be called a storm, simply just a storm or a rainstorm, if there's a lot of rainfall with the thunder, okay? What about lightning? We talked about bolt, such as a lightning bolt. We're talking about the light, okay, that we often see when a lightning strikes, okay, that visible light. Now, here is a very similar word, but check out the spelling of the word. It's L-I-G-H-T, exactly the same, but there is an E here. Lightning. Pronunciation is different as well. Here, the lightning we're talking about is lightning, 2 syllables. And down here, we've got 3 syllables. Lightning, lightning. Okay, also, stress goes right there. These words have different meanings, but a lot of people seem to get these confused. So, lightning here in this case, we're talking about the light that we often see, the visible light that we see when lightning strikes. But here, lightning is actually the process of making something lighter in weight or brighter in color. We'll practice using these 2 words later in our patterns, okay? But keep in mind that these are different words. They are pronounced slightly different as well. Lightning, lightning. Got it? Now, estimate. In today's actual talk, we had estimate in the verb form, estimate. And if it's used in the noun form, it's estimate, estimate, pronounced differently, okay? As a verb, what is it? Estimate, estimate. And as a noun, it's estimate, estimate. Good job. Means to guess or to predict. Flash is what? It's like a glow, shimmer, flicker, or even a spark. We're talking about a very brief, sudden flash or a spark of light, okay? Okay, moving on to condense. Condense. We were talking about how rain is made, right? We've got hot air going up into the sky, and then it's condensed and it falls as rain. Condense means to compress or even thicken. And finally, we've got droplet. We're talking about tiny drops of water, okay? Small amounts of water. Little or tiny drops of water, they're called droplets. Okay, now let's move on to our pattern. Crack of thunder was what? Crack of thunder or cracks of thunder. It can actually be something we see, okay? Cracks of thunder, like flashes of thunder, or the sound that we hear when thunder strikes. Gong, okay? That is a crack of thunder. Here we go, the sentence. The cracks of thunder woke me up at 2 in the morning. There was lightning and thunder last night. Oh, and the cracks of thunder woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. They do wake you up because sometimes they can be really, really violently loud. Okay, one more time. The cracks of thunder woke me up at 2 in the morning. Okay, now let's move on to lightning versus lightning. Lightning versus lightning. Do you hear the difference? Could be confusing, but anyhow, lightning we're talking about, that light. Visible light we see in the sky when lightning strikes. But here, lightning is how something becomes brighter or lighter in weight. So I've got two sentences for you using lightning. Lightning struck the tallest building in the area, meaning it hit the tallest building in the area. Okay, one more time. Lightning struck the tallest building in the area. And then moving on, try lightening the room by painting the walls white. Do you see the difference? Try lightening the room by painting the walls white. In this second sentence, we're saying try making the room brighter by painting the walls white. Okay, so now you know the difference between lightning and lightning. Please do not get them confused. Okay, I guess that about does it for today's actual expressions. Job well done.
Summer is here again, and it's tornado season, which means in America and in Canada, they suffer from lots of tornadoes. And in the southern part of the USA, they have what's famously called Tornado Alley. And now in New Orleans area, throughout the months of summer, they have multitude of tornadoes. So to be in that area is quite a dangerous place to live. Now here in Korea, we don't suffer from tornadoes. You're very lucky. We don't have earthquakes, we don't have tornadoes, but you do have a lot of thunderstorms. And during the summer season, when rainy season is here, it's very, very dangerous time, especially in central Seoul, with flooding and with torrential downpours. So during the summer season, you have to make sure that you're always carrying your umbrella with you, you've always got your Wellington boots on, and you're ready for a downpour.
It's now time for actual story, everyone. Today we had help from Martin from the UK. And in the very beginning, he's talked a lot about tornadoes and earthquakes and hurricanes. And he said that in America and Canada, a lot of people suffer from lots of tornadoes. And in the southern part of the US, they have what's famously called Tornado Alley. Never heard of that before. But anyhow, even in New Orleans, throughout the months of summer, they have a multitude of tornadoes, meaning tons and tons of tornadoes hitting the area. Yes, we've seen these tornadoes, and we've heard about them on television, on the news, quite a number of times in the past. Anyhow, he's mentioned that in Korea, we don't really see a lot of tornadoes. We don't really experience many earthquakes, although we do experience mild earthquakes now and then. Let's take a look at how thunderstorms can occur in Korea. Here we go. In America and Canada, they suffer from lots of tornadoes. Okay? So we're talking about in America and in Canada. Okay, they suffer from something. In Korea, we don't suffer from tornadoes, but you do have a lot of thunderstorms during the summer season. I think we've had a number of thunderstorms quite recently. Yes, we have. They were very scary. I wouldn't say they were just cracks of thunder, but giant cracks of thunder. They were very scary. Anyhow, once again, in Korea, we don't suffer from tornadoes, but we do suffer from thunderstorms, or we do have a lot of thunderstorms during the summer season. And moving on to our final sentence, it is a very dangerous time, especially in central Seoul, with what? With flooding and torrential downpours. Now, it could be a dangerous time because there could be flooding. Now, places could overflow with water because it rains so much. So that's what he means by flooding. What about torrential downpours? Do you remember? Torrential means what? Destructive, heavy, severe, very powerful, right? And also downpours. We're talking about when it rains. It doesn't rain for just 1 hour or 2 hours, but it's when it continuously rains on and on and on. We're talking about how it pours. Heavy rain that lasts a long time. So we're talking about heavy rain. Not just heavy, but very strong and heavy rain, accompanied by strong winds as well. So it is a very dangerous time. We all should keep ourselves safe. Okay, so that is a wrap for today's actual story. Thanks to Martin once again, and let's take a listen to it one more time.
Summer is here again, and it's tornado season, which means in America and in Canada, they suffer from lots of tornadoes. And in the southern part of the USA, they have what's famously called Tornado Alley. And now in New Orleans area, throughout the months of summer, they have multitude of tornadoes. So to be in that area is quite a dangerous place to live. Now here in Korea, we don't suffer from tornadoes. You're very lucky. We don't have earthquakes, we don't have tornadoes, but you do have a lot of thunderstorms. And during the summer season, when rainy season is here, it's very, very dangerous time, especially in central Seoul, with flooding and with torrential downpours. So during the summer season, you have to make sure that you're always carrying your umbrella with you, you've always got your Wellington boots on, and you're ready for a downpour.
Well, Martin said always be ready. Always, carry an umbrella with you. Always have your boots on and be prepared for downpours. But that's good advice. But I would say when there's torrential downpours, stay indoors, everyone. Do not leave your homes. That is the safest thing to do. So today we talked about thunderstorms. We talked about lightning, thunderstorms, cracks of thunder, lightning bolts, thunderbolts, electrical storms. We talked about so many things. So please do go over those terms, phrases, and vocab words, as well as the patterns, and make them yours by practicing them over and over again. Now, next time I'll be joining you back with something that is quite popular in Korea, a time, I guess, or several times or periods during the hottest season, which would be the summer season. Let's talk about sambook next time. Be ready for that. In the meantime, come to our homepage, everyone. Come on over to www.ebse.co.kr. Look for Actual English with Jennifer. And if you have any questions, thoughts, comments you want to share, feel more than free to post them up on our message board. Okay, that is all for today. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Until then, take care and bye for now.